Hi everybody, welcome to 2019, a new year for resolutions and scrapping.
Hi, my name is Sue. How do you do? Okay, old joke. Sorry.
For 2019, I decided to look at the KonMari method of looking at stamps that spark my interest. And I'm going to try to make cards using some old products and new ones and see what we can create. Here I decided to try to use some old Sizzix things that I have, and I found you can use them on the Cuttlebug. If you use both the B plates, you can still use those very thin Sizzix dies. And I found this Love one in my stash, and I thought it would be great to put on the card. And here I did it in black and in white, so I can have like a shadow effect. But I was so impressed with the way that I did it on the Cuttlebug. And here I'm using some pretty good cardstock. I think it's from Gina K's Black Onyx. And it punctured through without having any extra pressure on it. I just ran it through a couple times back and forth. And again, I did it through some scrap white. Part of the purging that I'm doing for 2019 is going through my scraps and actually using them. So when I design a card, I look at what I have in my scraps first before I make my final decision. And I've had, I don't know how, if you're like me, we have so many white scraps and black just sitting in our files to be used. And this is a good chance to use those old thinlits that we've had. I guess that's what they're called, from Sizzix back in the day when we had the big old red machine. So here, and if you wanted to save, you can save the black and the white, and also all those little dots, you can put them back out. For me, being that I'm trying to purge for this year, I'm going to actually throw these away. I know it was hard for me to just not keep those, but I have to look at being realistic. How many am I really going to do? So here you can see where I made like a little shadow just by using the black and white. And I love, literally, the way it came out. And I used some Gina K Connect to glue the white to the back, to the black, and it worked really good. Next, I took a stencil here and I decided to just use the Valentine colors. I picked Oxide inks. I used Candied Apple, Abandoned Coral, and you can't see it here, but I used the Pickled Raspberry, I believe it's called. And then afterwards, I just removed the tape, and this is what it looks like, which I thought was perfect for Valentine's Day. So now I'm going to use my Spectrum Noir to color a boy and girl that's from the monthly Hero Arts stamp set. Now, one thing that KonMari method says is to grab all your pens and put them in a pile, and then keep the ones that spark joy and get rid of the rest. So I did that this weekend, and of course, none of my Spectrum Noirs got tossed. I love these pens. But I did have a lot of old pens over the years that I used for markers that you can't shade with, you can't do anything. They're more like a ballpoint pen, different colors. I've had them since college, and I won't say how long that's been, but I got rid of a lot of those. They just didn't have any more ink left, or they just weren't the right style, and things changed. So I did take my big pile and I went through every pen style that I had in drawers and everything from my craft room. And wow, it's amazing how many pens you can accumulate in crafting. Just because with scrapbooking, you start off with journaling, so you want a journal pen, and then you've got dark paper, so you want to journal on, have a pen that writes on dark and makes it glossy or makes it shimmery, and you have all these different styles pens that you've accumulated. And it was a little daunting to go through all of them and get a piece of scratch paper and go through, but it was very, I don't know what she calls it, but it sparked joy to get rid of all those old pens and have room for new pens, which, I do want to get some Copic pens as well, because there's some colors in there that the Spectrum Noir doesn't have. So I would like to get a little stash of those going. So that's one thing I did for her method of clearing away stuff. And like I said, going through your stamps and going through the ones that spark joy, and some of them I went through and I have such old ones I forgot that they sparked joy when I bought them. So I have to see if they still spark joy, because sometimes your style changes. I'm not much into a lot of the background stamps that I was at one point, so I have to look at those a little bit more. So in the next coming weeks, I'm going to try to make cards with old stamp sets. A lot of them are going to be retired, but I still have them, and then I'll decide if I want to get rid of them or not. I do have a daycare center around here that they use a lot of my stamps that I don't use anymore, and I may end up donating a lot to them. It was just one of the things that we have to do every year is purge our products. I know paper, I have a lot of paper, and like I said earlier, I'm going to try to go through all the scraps. I thought about just dumping the scraps out of all that I have and just starting from scratch, but I figured that was a little wasteful because I could use a lot of those scraps and cards, and I just have to be more mindful to use them and not start with a full sheet of paper if I already have that cut up. Especially white, red, black, green. We use a lot of those over the years, and they could still be used on products.
Here I'm starting to do the face features, and I always go from the light, then I use the dark, and then I went back to the mid-tone, and then I finalized it with the light. And that's what I did pretty much for all the shading through this whole thing. And I am doing it again with the reds. I just did the dark along where it should be shaded, and then I went in with the DR5 to finish it up. And I did the same for the girl you'll see in a moment.
So here's my finished girl and boy that I had colored in, and then here I put them on this little heart that I had already embossed the Be Mine with white, and I just kind of put the Connect glue right on their hands to look like they're holding the big heart together. And the Be Mine set, that was from an old set that I got from Close to My Heart. I don't know how old it was, but it was something with all the little tiny letters, and I never used it that much, and I thought it would be perfect for this heart. The set comes with different holidays in there, so I need to start using it more and more. So I kind of let this dry for a little bit, and then afterwards you'll see that I did put that on double sticky. Here I put the card, and I was going to put it on black cardstock, and then I found some heart ribbon, and my card is an A2 size card, so here it's kind of cut down a little bit.
So I glued the love to the ribbon, and then I put double-sided tape on the boy and girl and propped them up on the love, so it looks like they've ice skated the word love on the card. So here is my Christmas stamps used for Valentine's Day. Thank you for watching. Please give the video a thumbs up and subscribe so you can see how I do on my 2019 resolutions.